first thank all of you for coming to hear my speech. Living in the U.S., it's safe to say that we are pretty accustomed to our own way of life, and many people do not know much about the other cultures around the world. I hope from listening to my speech that you will learn more about the culture of Saudi Arabia when it comes to punishment. According to drugwarfacts.org, in 2009, 1,663,582 arrests were made because of drug law violations in the USA. Although this fact is disturbing, it is even more frightening to know that these actions and several others that seem insignificant in the U.S. could lead to being publicly executed in other countries. In Saudi Arabia during 2007, 40 executions were done due to drug-related crimes alone. Saudi Arabia is a country that is not afraid to use the death penalty. Murder, adultery, rape, sexual misconduct, armed robbery, theft, blasphemy, homosexuality, prostitution, witchcraft, and drug abuse are all crimes that could potentially end up being publicly beheaded by a sword. I have provided each one of you with a table of crimes. The first column is the crime, the second column is the average punishment in the U.S., and the third column is the punishment in Saudi Arabia. You'll be able to see the extreme differences in the way each culture handles these crimes. For example, on the last line, it shows that prostitutes are only issued a fine if they are first-time offenders in the U.S. But in the next crime, you'll see that in Saudi Arabia, they often get executed for it. So I'd also like to tell you guys about a few more instances. A father of 5 left his on-screen job in Lebanon, where he made predictions and told horoscopes to head to Saudi Arabia in 2008. According to VOA News, this fortune teller known as Saibat was performing a religious pilgrimage known as Umrah when police busted in and arrested him. Although there was not any legal definition of witchcraft in Saudi Arabia, fortune-telling and horoscopes are condemned as un-Islamic. Saibat was convicted by the Saudi court and was sentenced to the death penalty by beheading in April 2010. However, this instance received massive news coverage, protest appeals, and they have temporarily saved his life. Another crime that Saudi Arabia does not take lightly is armed robbery. In 2004, 4 migrant workers committed armed robbery and were given no legal assistance during their court battle. Their sentence was the death penalty, which took place in 2007. The 4 men were beaten, beheaded, and then the Saudi court ordered their bodies to be strung out in a public square to scare other immigrant workers. While this might seem extremely disturbing to us Americans, it is nothing but normal for the people in Saudi Arabia, even the executioners. Saudi Arabia's lead executioner was interviewed in 2003 by BBC News and told his views and beliefs on the capital punishment system. Muhammad Saad al-Bashir told the Daily Arab News, quote, "Despite the fact that I hate violence against women, when it comes to God's will, I have to carry it out." He believes that executing men and women of all ages is justified by God and that he is doing the right thing. Muhammad goes on talking about how normal his life is and says that nobody is afraid of him because of his job. Because of this statement, it is obvious that Muhammad's job is normal and widely accepted by his friends and family members. Another strange thing that Muhammad mentions is that he often has his 7 kids sharpen his sword that he carries around to commit the executions. It is obvious that this particular culture lives an extremely different life than us Americans do. Although they do believe in God like Christians in the U.S., they still have a very different view of God's expectations and how to carry them out. In Saudi Arabia, executions are done for crimes that receive less than a life sentence in the U.S. I do not believe that there is a right way to handle each crime. Every culture has a different system of punishment, and their idea of right and wrong is based on the way they were raised.